This is a writer's workshop presented by Desert Edge School. In this workshop, you will use the article The Importance of Formatting, the Rice Handout for Paragraph Writing, and the Rice Handout for Essay Writing. You will first learn how to break down the prompt. For this workshop, the prompt is to summarize the author's message about formatting and its importance in life from the article, The Importance of Formatting. Use the best evidence from the text to support your answer. We will break down what this means and what it is asking you to write about. We will then read the article together, and lastly, plan an essay using the Rice handouts. Please have something to write with and the 3 handouts, the article and the 2 rice, ready to begin this workshop. To break down the prompt, you first need to read the prompt, question or instructions all the way through. Then complete the following steps. Start by rereading the prompt with purpose. While you are doing this, underline and make notes while you are reading. Look for things that indicate what the prompt is asking you to write about and what questions you need to address. Make a decision about what the task requires and make notes. Here are some examples of different things you may be writing about in an essay. To prove or explain something. To describe a literary element, such as the theme. You may be trying to persuade the reader, or to state a claim or make inference. You may also be asked to summarize, and sometimes this would indicate that you are summarizing the author's message. Next, you need to circle any words that are what we call number words. These are words that help you plan your answer. You are looking for clues, anything in plural form. These clues will tell you how much you need to write about or how much you should include in your answer. Words such as one, two, a, several, single, or anything plural. These might tell you you need to use multiple examples or multiple details instead of just writing about one. Next, you should circle any verbs. These are telling you that you must take an action, which would also help guide you in deciding what to write about and how to answer the prompt. These words include, but are not limited to, tell, explain, persuade, analyze, compare, identify, find, illustrate, draw, compare, support. You need to underline or take note of any questions that you are asked directly in the prompt. Be sure to answer and address them in your essay. Often students miss parts of the question just by not reading carefully. This is why it is highly suggested to reread the prompt several times while completing these steps, which we will do together. We will first break down the prompt to understand what we will be writing about after reading the article. We will then read the article together. Lastly, we will plan an essay using the Rice handouts. Again, the prompt is to summarize the author's message about formatting in life. Use the best evidence from the article to support your answer. We will work back through the steps we just learned using the prompt to demonstrate how to break a prompt down. First, underline the topic that tells you what you will write about. Our topic is the author's message and the article, The Importance of Formatting. Step 2 is to decide what the task requires and take note. The task is asking us to summarize the author's message by using evidence from the text. The third step is to look for number words or indicators. Here, summarize is an indicator and evidence would help guide us. The action words are summarize and use and support. These tell us what we need to do in this essay. The fifth step is to underline or make note of any questions asked. In this case, there are no actual questions, only statements about what we need to do. Now that we better understand the prompt, we will read the article together. Remember, we are looking for the author's message, and we will need to use the best evidence from the text to support that this is the author's message. Please take out your article and follow along while I read it out loud. We will then work together to plan out our essay. The Importance of Formatting by Dr. Tamara Fudge, professor in the School of Business and IT at Kaplan University. Too often, students complain that I am tough on them for not following APA formatting. Lest anyone think this post is an apology, I will disappoint you. Formatting is important. Sure, there are PowerPoints, podcasts, and other kinds of assignments, but most papers written in my school are to be completed using APA style, which was developed by the American Psychological Association. This method defines not just how sources are to be cited and referenced, but how the paper should look overall, including the size of margins, how far to indent first lines of paragraphs, where page numbers are placed, and more. There are other formats too, including but not limited to MLA from the Modern Language Association and Chicago, short for Chicago Manual of Style. Each style is picky about how words are placed on the page. It's not that APA is any better than the others, it just happens to be the method of choice for my situation. The important thing is that there is a declared standard. Why is formatting so important that I will dare to take a point or two off when it is not followed? It demonstrates that you can follow instructions. If you are a hiring manager, you would not want to hire someone who either doesn't, won't, or can't follow directions. It provides consistency. Your readers, whether they are your professors, your bosses and coworkers, or your clients, won't have to guess how you organized your ideas. It facilitates practice of discipline and adherence to standards. I can't think of a field that doesn't have some set of standards, such as how to meet web accessibility issues, provide network security, or maintain HIPAA requirements. Learning to stick to standards takes practice. It allows you to focus your efforts on content. There are no surprises in how you create a cover page or put the reference list together when you use an established method. Once you are used to the methodology, seriously, it's not that difficult. You can spend the bulk of your writing time researching and organizing ideas into words. Knowing how to use a prescribed formatting style can also help you excel in your career. For example, one of the ways to move upward in your chosen field is to become a published author. Journals typically require a format and may summarily reject any submissions not meeting their standards. It's also important to know that one of the reasons companies sometimes lose out on grants is that the writers didn't follow posted guidelines. Legal documents also have very specific formatting. According to an article regarding California civil procedures, there is a rule for everything, right down to the type of paper to use and the requirements to hole punch your pleadings. I've been told that deviating from the requirements might well have an unhappy ending for the lawyer's client. My insistence on following rules should only make students stronger candidates for the workplace of their choice. They learn to follow instructions, provide consistency, practice discipline, and then have the ability to focus on the content when they have mastered formatting. If I don't insist on adherence to the rules, I fail to teach these things to my students. And so again, Without apology, I declare that formatting is important. Now that we know what our goal is in the writing assignment, we are ready to use a graphic organizer to begin planning our writing. You have copies of the graphic organizers in your packet. We will use the Rice handouts to write a paragraph, and then expand and use a separate Rice handout to plan for the entire essay. To use the Rice graphic organizer, we must understand the purpose of the organizer itself in the writing process. The skill we are going to learn is how to organize information on a graphic organizer in order to prepare for writing sentences, paragraphs, and essays. You can recreate this organizer anytime that you are assigned a writing task. Use the term Rice to help you remember the different components to the organizer. It is helpful to write the prompt or question at the top clearly so that you do not forget to answer any parts of the prompt. We are going to restate and answer the question to create a topic sentence. We will investigate to find the best evidence. We will need to cite our sources and lastly explain how the evidence connects to the topic sentence, which was created from the actual question itself. Let's work through these steps together with our article and prompt so that you can better understand this process. Use the graphic organizer to create your answer in complete sentences. To restate the prompt in the answer, you need to use academic vocabulary to answer the question. Here's an example of how to do this. Formatting is important in life, according to Dr. Tamara Fudge in the article, The Importance of Formatting. We need to investigate and find the best evidence and to cite the source. Find several pieces of evidence and then select the best. Record the evidence using your Rice form. Next, you will cite the paragraph, section, or chapter. Use bullet points and keep it simple and direct. The evidence is that with formatting, a person can excel in their career, and it shows that they can follow instructions. The sources came from paragraph 5 and paragraph 4. In this case, we do not have page numbers or chapters, so we cite paragraphs. After finding and citing the best evidence, it is your job as the writer to explain it to your audience. This is often the most difficult step and involves you making sense out of why the piece of evidence proves your statements. There should be a 2-to-1 ratio of explanation to evidence. This absolutely needs to be in your own words, and you are basically explaining the connection between the message and your chosen evidence. Here's an example of how to connect the first piece of evidence. It can help you succeed in life and impress others, like teachers and bosses. The next step is to turn this into a paragraph using the elements listed above. Some keep to the order of Rice, others switch it around. Sometimes it is a helpful writing tool to present the evidence, explain, and then write a topic sentence. Other times it is more efficient to open with the topic sentence and work to break it down and explain it to the reader. I will give you a couple of seconds to finish writing any piece of this Rice form down that you have not had the opportunity to write yet. Here are some suggestions of items to add, remove, replace, and expand to better your writing. You can add prepositional phrases, adjectives or adverbs, appositives, words with hyphens, dashes, semicolons, colons, figurative language, line of dialogue, evidence using a number. Add quotes, questions, make your sentences count. This may mean longer, shorter, or to combine them. Switch up your sentence variety, like we talked about earlier when we talked about order. Lastly, use transitions. Ideas of words to remove and replace. Replace non-descriptive words. Change to vivid verbs, descriptions. Change words and phrases such as things and a lot. Be more clear. Do not use first person. You are not saying I ever in this essay. Do not use repetitive sentences. Try switching it up and using however, therefore, furthermore, in addition, as previously stated. Also, the author says. Use the author's last name, etc. Do not use cliches or little sayings that you would use in everyday speech, such as the early bird gets the worm. It does not sound professional, is not good writing practice. You can scale down or expand your writing. Count words and sentences to better understand what to cut. Or do the same and add in some descriptive language if you need to expand. You can create longer paragraphs by adding in more of your own explanations or more examples. If it is too lengthy, you can also cut the less important examples, especially since this prompt talks about using the best evidence and not all of the evidence. This is being a good example of the number words we talked about. If you need to expand your essay, keep the structure the same, but expand it into as many paragraphs as you need. The part that you are actually expanding are the body paragraphs, the explanations, the examples. You must keep to the introduction and conclusion format, taking up one paragraph each. You can now practice expanding your response to the prompt using the graphic organizer for paragraph writing. Remember what we talked about with sentence variety and practice writing a paragraph using the Rice format. You can then use the Rice document for essay writing, and by following the format, you are planning your essay and then will be ready to sit down and write your full response to the prompt. You will use the Rice organizers to write an essay on the prompt discussed in the presentation. Start the process over again, rereading the article and working through the steps that were taught. The information is also available in the packet. Please submit the organizers and completed essay for full feedback.